YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Wayman Mike and we're back for another video. Stay tuned. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to cut your own hair. First, I want to give a disclaimer. You are not a professional barber, at least most of you aren't. With that being said, your hair is not going to look as professional as if a professional barber did it. These are people who cut hair like 20 times a day, and you're only going to be cutting hair like once every 2 weeks. So a barber is going to have more experience and more practice than you. So their cuts are going to turn out better than what you can do to yourself. So just keep that in mind. If you mess up, fine, because you're going to learn from those mess ups. But without further ado, I'm going to ask you guys to go press that like button, and then I'm going to start this video. So press that like button so I can start this video. Okay, cool. Okay, so first up, I'm going to start listing the things that you will need. First off, you're going to need a comb, and this is going to be to comb your hair out. It can be a wire tooth comb or one of those skinnier combs. Then you're going to need a brush, preferably not a brush that you want to get a whole bunch of hair in, because that is exactly what's going to happen. A whole bunch of hair is going to get stuck in your brush. Then you're going to need a pair of clippers and trimmers. The ones I have are the Andis T Outliner and the Oster Fast Feed. Both of these are professional level clippers, and you can get them for around 60 bucks, and I recommend it highly. But if you're on a budget, then you can always go to Walmart or something and get some of the cheaper ones. Okay, so to go along with the clippers, you're going to need guards, and what this does is adjusts the height and length that your hair will be when you cut over it. So the higher the guard, the higher your hair. Next up is a very important one. It is a handheld mirror, so you can make sure you can see what you're doing in the back of your head. Next, you're going to need some alcohol just in case you cut yourself, and you can sterilize everything. Okay, so those are the materials you'll need. So now let's get into the step-by-step instructions. First, you want to start off by combing your hair. What this does is picks your hair off of your scalp so that it is easier to get through by your clippers. Because if your hair is just laid down completely flat on your head, it's going to be really hard for your clippers to get a real hold on your hair, and it might actually snag and make like a patch in your head, and you don't want to be Patchy the Pirate. So make sure that you comb your hair up so that it isn't stuck down to your head. Okay, so you remember those clippers we were talking about earlier? Now's the time to use them. So the one I'm using is a 2. I'm going to put it on my clipper, and then I'm going to close the clipper. Here's a quick explanation of what it means for the clipper to have the lever open and closed. So when the lever is in this back position like this, it's open. When it's in the forward position like this, it's closed. The open position is higher than the closed position. Now let's explain with the grain versus against the grain. Basically, when you cut with the direction of your hair, this is with the grain. When you cut against the direction of your hair, this is against the grain. Against the grain cuts come out much lower than with the grain cuts. So if you start doing it one way, make sure you continue doing it that way until the haircut is over, because if you don't, you will have patches in your hair. Each time you do your haircut, you want to make sure you locate this area in your head. It's called the crown. It'll be a place where your hair seems to start. So what you want to do is find that crown and cut outward from that crown area to the edge of your hair on each side, like this. No matter what side, you always want to start from that crown area. If you were to do against the grain, it's just the opposite. You start from the hairline on each side and you move towards the crown rather than away from the crown. Okay, so now let's get the haircut started. I'm going to be using the 2 guard, and I'm going to have my lever closed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the grain. So these are all things we've already talked about. We've talked about guards. We've talked about the lever being open and closed, and we talked about with the green versus against the green. I'm using a 2 guard with the green with the lever closed. On your hair, you might use a different guard depending on how high or low you want your hair to be. So you may use a 1 guard, you may use a 3 guard, a 4 guard. It's up to you and how long your hair will be after the haircut, or how long it is before the haircut. So I'm just going ahead and following the pattern of my hair on each side. I'll stop talking so you can just watch. Actually, before I go, I want to make sure I show you the difference from one side to the other. So this is the side I cut, and this is the side I didn't cut. So you can see a huge difference in what I've just done in just such a short amount of time. So just keep that in mind. And ever so often, you want to make sure to comb your hair out just so you can pick it back up to make sure that you've gotten everything off of your scalp and it's not still laid down. This next step is quite a bit more difficult than the last. That's because in this step, I'm going to be teaching you how to taper the sides and back of your hair. And that requires at least a basic knowledge of how to fade. But I'm going to do the best I can to explain it to you. And if you still don't understand it after I explain it, there are hundreds of other videos teaching you how to do it. So I think that you should be fine. Okay, so now you're going to need to use more guards. The ones that I use are the 0 guard, the 1 guard, and the 2 guard. And you'll also need to be able to use your clippers without any guards, because that is as low as you're going to get without using, the trimmers. So basically what I do first is I make a first guideline as a bald guideline from that spot to that spot. So from right here, and it's going to go all the way up till here. You see that? All the way up to here. And right now on the clipper, I have no guard and I have the lever closed all the way. And you can pull the skin to make sure you can get it as close as possible. Then comb your hair down so you can really see what you've done, and you can expose that line again. Then what you want to do is open the lever on the clipper and then go just above the line that you just created. So here's me showing you that the lever is open all the way, and you can switch between the closed and open position to get it closer or to get it higher. And you can notch in between open and the closed to get like a medium type effect, you know, not all the way down but not all the way up. And every so often you want to make sure that you're combing your hair down so you can really get the idea of what you're doing. You can see exactly what you're doing. After you finish with no guard, you want to go ahead and add the zero guard, which is, from my understanding, the next guard up from having no guard at all. And what you're going to do is have the lever open and go about a centimeter or ½ inch above that line that you just created. You're not really going to see what you're doing if your hair is too long because it's going to overlap. So that's why you comb, so that you can actually see what's going on. If you don't want to comb, you can brush. From my experience, they work just as good. Unless your hair is really, really low, then the brush definitely works a lot better than the comb. As you can see, I switched over to using that brush now. So you can really see there is a section where the hair is bald, and then there's a section where the hair is really, really short, which is what I'm doing right now. And the clipper has the lever open right now, so it's creating a line right there. So what I'm going to do, you see that line? What I'm going to do is close the clipper's lever so that I can work on getting that line to fade into the section below it. Your first few times doing this, you may mess up, and that's okay because this is actually pretty difficult. Even some professional barbers can't get all of the lines out completely perfectly. So don't stress about it because at the end of the day, you're just doing this for yourself. And if you mess up, hey, you can just throw a hat on. That's what I did. The first few times I cut my hair, I just threw a hat on. It didn't really matter to me all that much. And to you, it shouldn't either, unless you got something important to do or something. But you can see I'm working on getting that line out, and I'm trying to perfect it. I'm not going to get it exactly perfect because I'm not a barber. And because I have a camera in my face, so I can't really see the so I can't really see the mirror. Can't really see exactly what I'm doing. But once I work out that line, then I'll go ahead and grab the next guard up, which is the one guard. So by now you should be able to see a pattern. Each time you start with a new guard, you want to have the lever open, go up about a ½ inch, and then you gradually go underneath that, closing the closing the lever ever so slightly so that it fades into the section that you just made below it. So I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. You can either close the lever all the way or you can open it all the way, and you can have it in between all the way open or all the way closed. You know what I'm saying? It can be in the middle, and that's how you blend your hair. And now I'm doing that same process with the two guard. Clipper all the way open, and as I go down, I work the clipper more towards the closed position so it fades into the section that I did with the one guard. Now I'm just going to show you the difference between what it looks like when you have one side tapered, which is this side, and you can see it fades in very nicely, and then what it looks like if you weren't to do that at all. So the taper definitely brings the haircut to life, and it makes it look a lot better. So you could do this haircut without doing a taper at all, but in my opinion, it looks much better if you go ahead and just taper it. You know what I mean? Since you already saw me do one side, I can go ahead and do the other side off camera just so I can concentrate more And you already know what I'm going to do because it's the same steps as the first side. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the back, which is actually the same steps as the sides, but I'm going to do it on camera just because, you know, it looks different. So I'm going to do it on camera just for you guys. So before you do that, you want to make sure you brush or comb your hair down so that the hair isn't sticking up and isn't hard to cut. So it's the same guidelines for the back. First, you want to start off with the clipper all the way closed with no guard on it at all. And you want to make a straight line. Some people like to make arches, but I like to do straight lines. After that line is as straight as you can get it, you want to make sure to close the clipper lever and just go just above that line so it can create like a fade in effect. I usually don't blend this section. I usually just, you know, go ahead and go straight from the closed position to the open position. But for some people's hair, you may actually need to blend that. But on my hair, it actually doesn't show if I don't blend it or if I do blend it. So it doesn't matter to me. But if you do need to, then it's just the same steps as the sides. So you can just follow those same steps anyway. Next, take your zero guard, put it on your clipper, and have the lever open. And what you're going to do is go up about a half an inch above the line that you just made. And this is where you're really going to see the contrast in the height of what you had before and what you have now. So you can really see this is going to need to be blended out. Right now, the clipper is all the way open, but you're going to eventually close the clipper to get rid of that line. So it's not like a harsh line, it's going to be faded in. And the easiest way to explain it is more like blurry. You can't see the lines. The lines are very blurred and faded. Now you want to brush your hair down so you can get rid of those hairs that you've already cut, and you can really see what's actually there and what's been cut. And then you want to close the lever and just go below where you cut so that you can get rid of any lines that are there. So I just went directly below what I already cut, and it looks like this. And now the same thing that I did with the zero guard, I'm going to do with the one guard. Start with the lever open, make a guideline, which is like a half an inch above the last. And then I'm going to gently close the lever to fade into the section below it. Okay, so after I finish this fade or blend with the one guard, I'm just going to go ahead and do the two guard off camera. It's literally the exact same step, so I'm not skipping a step. I'm just skipping showing you a certain guard. And this is what it looks like afterwards. Next, you want to grab your trimmers or outliners, whatever you want to call them. And this is the section where you outline your hair. You want to make sure that you brush down all those edges before you start cutting anything. And in that front section, you might want to even cut down the hairline to a lower guard than what the rest of your hair is, just so you don't have anything hanging over. When I do this, I always use the one guard just because it doesn't have too much of a transition from what I did on top of my head. So when it comes to the hairline, I figured it's better that I show you afterward rather than during the actual haircut, so you can get better camera angles and a better explanation. So what you want to do is, first, before you do anything, you see these side areas, you want to do that area first. So this is already straight, so it's going to be pretty hard to not get this straight. Just have this going directly down. If you think that you might mess up this area, you can get something like this, a straight edge, maybe even a ruler, and you can just put it on your hairline so that you know that you're not going to go past this line that's right here. And what you would do is cut everything that's in front of that line. How I like to do mine is to line it up with this part of my eyebrow, where it comes down to where the edge of my iris and my eye is. But some people like to cut theirs lined up right here. It's all depending on personal preference. And whatever I did on this side, of course I'm gonna do on this side. So I line it up with that same section with my eyebrow. And if you really look hard, it kind of lines up with this section of your lip in like a V. So it kind of, you know, goes straight into that and straight into that. Once you've done these two sections, you can start in this middle section, get where you need this to be, and then work outward from the middle on each side. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is start from the sides and work your way to the middle, and then start from the other side and work your way to the middle. But what you don't want to do is start from one side and work your way all the way over, or vice versa, this side and work your way all the way over, because you'll end up with a very slanted hairline. My hairline is naturally slanted, and I think that's something that people need to come to realize. Your hairline might not be perfectly even. I wouldn't over exaggerate your hairline to make it perfectly straight. Just make it as natural as possible. So if your hairline is naturally slanted, if you're making your hairline, sometimes you just got to make it slanted, because if you were to make it perfectly straight, it may look pushed back. So I know that this side is naturally higher than this side, so I wouldn't just go ahead and push this side back. Even though it would make it even with this side, at the end of the day, it's going to make it look more pushed back. And the same thing goes for this section back here. You just want to make the line as natural as possible. Don't push it back and don't go too extreme. Just follow the natural flow of where you think the hairline should be. You're not a professional. It's not going to end up perfect. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the end of this haircut tutorial. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully after this you're able to cut your own hair. If you have any questions, go drop them down below. And if you don't have any questions, still go leave a comment. Say thank you for the tutorial. I don't know, just say anything. You could literally type anything, the word anything. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Waveman Mike. Subscribe, comment, and like. Enjoy your day. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to give yourself a shape up, a line up, a edge, anything you want to call it. I'm going to be teaching you how to do it. This tutorial can be used more than just doing it on yourself. You can also do this on someone else. First, I want to give a few disclaimers. Number one, odds are you're not a professional barber, so you shouldn't be expecting professional results. So if your lineup doesn't come out as sharp and professional as if a professional did it, you shouldn't be angry or disappointed or anything like that. Barbers have years of experience doing like 20 haircuts per day, so don't expect to just have results like them on your first cut. Another disclaimer, your hairline is on your head. You want to get your hairline as straight as possible. possible, right? Correct. But there's something you have to think about. Your head is not a straight surface. So just keep that in mind. It is difficult to put a straight line on something that's round. Also, you want to follow the natural hairline that you already have. You don't want to push up one side more than the other, or you messed up and now you want to push it up even more so you can just get it as straight as possible. No, just follow your natural hairline. For me, I naturally have an uneven hairline. So when I give myself a lineup, I cut it kind of uneven, because if I were to cut it even, then it'll look kind of pushed back. You understand what I'm saying? Just go with the flow. But without further ado, let's get into this haircut. Okay, so to give yourself a lineup, you're going to need trimmers. These are also sometimes called outliners. They're different from the regular clippers that you use to cut your hair down. A nice pair of trimmers that you can check out and buy for yourself are the Andis T outliners. Another pair are wall detailers, or even the Babyliss Gold FX, but those are a bit more expensive. I'm pretty sure you can find all of those on Amazon with no problems. In this video, other than the trimmer, I will be using two tools. These are the Cut Buddy and the Speed Tracer. These just ensure that every line that I make is straight because I'm tracing it. The Speed Tracer makes it so that I can draw on myself where the lineup will be before I actually do it. That way I can see what the result will be without actually having the result yet. I find this extremely helpful. This tool also has many different curves. These curves can be used to trace out that curved section on the side called the C cup, and you can also use it to shape your beard. However, these are not absolutely like mandatory for doing a lineup, but I do recommend you get one. And if you do want one, you can go to thecutbuddy.com and purchase one, and you can even use my code WavemanMike when you purchase. All right, let's start the lineup.
Like I said before, I'm going to be using the Speed Tracer and the Cut Buddy. These tools are not mandatory for doing a lineup. However, I do recommend that you get them if you're a beginner. Okay, so first what you want to do is brush your hairline down just so you can get all the hairs that would normally hang over your hairline to hang over your hairline. Because if you don't do this, when you do your hairline and then you brush your hair down, you're still going to have hairs hanging over the line. So what I'm going to do is place this tool on my hairline exactly where I want my hairline to be. And then I'm going to use the Speed Tracer pencil to outline on my head what it will look like. This way I can get an idea of what the hairline will look like before I actually even cut the hairline. Right here, you're about to see just how useful this tool is, because I looked in the mirror and I really didn't like the way that line looked when I drew it on myself. So what I'm doing is just drawing another line basically to correct what I drew at first. So this is a big help to me, because if it wasn't for this, then I would have just cut it without even seeing what it would have looked like when it was actually going to be cut. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm going to take a moment to look at the lines from a different angle, from the point of view of the camera. I looked in the camera and I liked what I saw. So I'm going to move on to the next area, and that is the actual shape up area. As you can see, I have a lot of hangover hair. What hangover hair basically is when your hair grows over where your lineup actually should be. So a lot of times you watch a barbering video and you think the barber is pushing someone's hairline back, but really they're just cutting the hangover hairs. Once again, brush your hairline down so you ensure that you would get any hair that would normally be a hangover hair. You could use something called a holding spray. I personally do not use one. But as you can see, I'm tracing the straight edge of the Cut Buddy onto my forehead. And as you can see, I drew a straight line. and I'm just filling that out. And I just move it over. I just keep moving it over on my head, making sure that I can keep this as straight as possible. It's not going to be perfectly straight, however, because my head is not straight. My head is round, just like your head is round, or at least it should be. And after I finish drawing this line, I'm going to look in the mirror and just verify with myself and confirm if I think this is how I want my lineup to be. So you can see me checking it right now. Look straight on, might look to the left, might look to the right, might look up, might look down. Do I like the way this line looks? I'll make a decision. Once I decide, I'm gonna cut down the hair that's surrounding my hairline a bit, just so it has a smoother transition. This is something that a lot of people with short hair, or sometimes even longer hair, do. They take that section that's closest to their lineup and they cut it down. You don't absolutely have to do this, but I recommend that you do. And when you do it, make sure that you're using a guard on your clipper, usually a 1 guard, and you're doing this with the clipper, not with the trimmer, because if you do this with the trimmer, you might end up with some bald spots. But yeah, now it's time for the actual cutting of the lineup with your trimmer. So if you didn't have the line set there that I drew, then you would just start in the middle and work your way over to the sides. Never start on one side and just work your way all the way over to another side, because you'll end up with a very slanted hairline most of the time. So start in the middle and then work your way over to the sides. But if you did use the cut buddy like I did and drew onto yourself, then you can just trace the line that you drew, and this makes it that much easier. If you didn't already know this tip, then I'm pretty sure you would appreciate it now. Now let's get into cutting the C cup. You could freehand this and just trace the line that you did, or you can take the tool just like this and you can just use that to basically make it impossible to mess this up, because as long as you hold that tool in place and trace what is in front of that tool, you pretty much cannot mess up. It's pretty hard to mess up, and if you do mess up, then I don't know how, because I have no idea. Unless your clipper is like Danny Phantom and can go through hard surfaces, it's pretty impossible to mess it up once that tool's in place. As you can see, I'm just trimming everything that's in front of that line and then going back and cleaning these areas up. You see that? That looks pretty good, doesn't it? So now you can go ahead and mirror what you did on the other side. When cutting these lines on the side, they're pretty explanatory. Just follow wherever you drew that line. If you're having problems deciding where to draw the line, you could follow based on the edge of your eye, or maybe even where your eyebrow changes direction. People do these lines often in different places, so there's no really right or wrong way to do it. It depends on that person. And take a look at your final result. Obviously, I'm going to take the pencil off of my head. I'm not going to keep that white line on all day, although you could, because I've seen people do it.
YouTube, what's good? It's your host with the most, helping people like you from coast to coast. Wave Man Mike, and we're back for another video. Stay tuned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to do side tapers on yourself. Okay, odds are you know what a taper is, and you're probably terrified to do it on yourself, as you should be. The tapers and the hairline are like the two areas that people are most afraid to cut on their own head. And there's good reason for it. These are the two hardest areas to cut, and they're the hardest to get right. But today, I'm going to try my best to explain what I know to you. First, I'm going to list the materials that you'll need. The first material you'll need, quite honestly, this one is obvious. You're going to need a clipper. Next up, you're going to need guards for your clipper. Then you're going to need either a brush or a comb. Personally, I like using brushes. And finally, you're going to need a trimmer. Now I'm going to explain why you need each one. The trimmer is honestly optional. You don't absolutely need the trimmer, but if you're looking for really sharp, precise, detailed work, then you're going to need the trimmer. And you're probably going to already want to have a trimmer anyway if you're going to do stuff like your hairline. By the way, I did drop 2 other videos for haircuts. I did a full haircut tutorial and I did a hairline tutorial. So if you're interested in those, go click the links down below. Next up, the clipper. The clipper is what you're actually going to use to cut your hair. Now I'm going to do an explanation of what it means for your clipper to be open and closed. When your lever is like this, in the back position, it's open. When it's forward like this, it's closed. I'm gonna get up closer so you can see what happens when you open and close your clipper. You see these blades right here? These are what is actually cutting your hair. And this is kind of like a guard, but it's not really a guard. When your clipper is closed, these blades get closer to your hair and cut the hair lower. When it's open, you can see this extends itself, making the cut come out higher. If that explanation wasn't good, then I'll drop another explanation in the description. Next up, guards. For a taper, there are 3 main guards that you're going to want to use: the 0 guard, the 1 guard, and the 2 guard. Depending on which brand you have, they might call the 0 guard something else. They might call it the half guard. Also, there is an additional guard in between the 1 and 2 called the 1.5. If you really want to foolproof your tapers, then you can go ahead and purchase that and use that as well. So you put the guard onto the clipper. This is a 0 guard, and you can see the clipper is open. So you can kind of call this a 0.5. This is the 0 guard on the clipper with the lever closed. That's just a 0. When you open and close the clipper, you're going to be creating guidelines and blending out those guidelines. The way that I like to do it is use my trimmer, create a bald guideline, then get my clipper, open it with no guard, and go up about 1/2 inch. Then there'll be a clear, even section that you can see that was cut. You'll see a line where that bald line is from the trimmer. What you want to do is take your clipper and close it, then cut just barely on that line, and you want to get slightly higher. And when you get higher, you want to move this a little bit more open each time. Let me draw an explanation of what I'm saying. Okay, first you want to cut your bald line. You can do this either with the trimmer or with the clipper all the way closed with no guard. Then you want to get your clipper and cut another line above that with the guard open, like this. Just imagine this paper is your head. So bald line, and then clipper with no guard with lever open. So this is what the bottom line is. This is what the top line is. Clippers don't only have two settings, open and closed. You can adjust it in between those sections. So you can halfway open it or halfway close it, or you can do it almost all the way closed and almost all the way open. So here's the closed position. I'm just gonna push it just a little bit and then cut just above that bottom line, right about there. Then I'm gonna open it halfway and cut just above that line that I just cut, right about there. Then open it a little bit more, almost all the way open, but not quite, right about there. You see these? These are all steps in between to fade out the tape. And this would apply for each guard. So right now we're doing this with no guard on, right? So you have no guard closed, no guard slightly open, no guard halfway open, no guard where it's almost all the way open, and then no guard where it's all the way open. Then you take that same idea and do that with the zero guard. So now this line becomes no guard all the way open. You're gonna cut another line right here with the zero guard open, and then you're gonna do these same notches. This, however, is above, obviously, where you did the last set. And you're just gonna keep doing that with guards until it blends in to the top of your head. These same guidelines work with low tapers, high tapers, fades, all of that. So now I'm done with the instructions. Now let me demonstrate what I just told you.
So now I'm going to make the first guideline. Remember, you don't have to use a trimmer for the first guideline. You can just use the clipper and use no guard with the lever all the way closed. So this would look the exact same. The only difference is that if you use a trimmer, you get a much closer bald look. Remember that brush I was telling you about? Well, now it's time to use it. After each guideline that you do, you want to brush your hair down so that your hair lays back in place, and it makes it easier for you to see what you're actually doing. And whatever you do to one side, obviously you want to do that to the other side so that it can mirror what you just did. Okay, so now take a moment to observe those guidelines and basically just check, do you want them to be higher? Do you want them to be lower? How do you want them? I know, I've already said it a million times, but I just want to give you another reminder. For the line that I just did, you could have also done that with the clipper with no guard with the lever all the way closed. Now it's time for the next step. Do you remember what it was? That's to cut with the guard all the way open. At first you had it closed, now you have it open. And you're just gonna cut right above the line that you just made. And remember, after each time you cut something, use your brush to just get those hairs to lay back down the way they are. Now do the same thing on the other side. Brush down those hairs on both sides and move on to the next step. Remember what I told you. You're gonna close the lever all the way and then open it in increments. So you're gonna start from this closed position, and then you're gonna move it a little bit more towards open, and then a little bit more than that, and then a little bit more than that. And each one of those are different guidelines and steps into blending and fading and tapering your taper. Remember that explanation I told you when I was drawing on the piece of paper? You're going to start at that bottom section, and then you're going to slightly open the lever. Then you're going to halfway open it. Then you're going to have it so that it's almost completely open, and then you're going to have it all the way open. And you're just basically notching that lever closer and closer to being open, and just going on top with it being more and more open. And then after you do that with no guard, you're going to do that with the zero guard. And then you're going to do those same steps. All the way closed, slightly open from that position, halfway open, slightly more open than that, and then all the way open. And then you're gonna do those same guidelines with the 1 guard and then the 2 guard. So now I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna let you watch me do it. So now I'm taking the 0 guard, I'm putting it on my clipper, and I'm gonna keep the lever open and then make the next guideline. Brush those hairs down. Now you can clearly see the difference between the 0 guard open and the no guard open. And you're just gonna go in between that with the closed and then halfway closed, you know, all the different notches that I told you about. So I just finished with the 0 guard with the lever open, and watch how I close the lever, and now I'm going to attack the bottom section of the section I just created, and watch just the bottom of it. You see what I'm doing? And this is with the lever all the way closed. You can see it's kind of blending out already. Now I'm going to go ahead and open that lever just a little bit, about 25% more than I already had it open. So now when I do the other side, I'm just gonna sit back and I'm not gonna give instructions. And why I'm doing this is because I want you to be able to watch and follow along without me doing instructions, kind of to see if you are able to memorize this, if you know what to do with the lever each time you put a new guard on. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start with the one guard, and I'm just gonna give a quick explanation just in case that wasn't already clear. So basically think of these blendings like a building. The building has 5 floors. For some reason, you're gonna build the 5th floor first, which is with the lever all the way open. Then you're gonna go back down to build the 1st floor with the lever all the way closed. Then you're gonna close the lever you're gonna open the lever about 25% to build floor 2. And then open the lever 50% to build floor 3. Then open the lever about 75% to build floor 4. And then floor 5 is already there. You've already blended into floor 5 because that's the first step you did. You know what I'm saying? I hope this comparison made any sense at all, because it actually makes sense to me, so I'm hoping it makes sense to you. Okay, so like I've said before, you can keep going with these guidelines. You can go on to the 2 guard and the 3 guard, the 4 guard, depending on how high your hair is. Usually you only need to go up into the 2 guard anyway, but sometimes you may need to use a higher guard. For me, I'm only going to go into the 1 guard, and I'm going to finish blending out with that. But remember, it's not going to be perfect because I'm not a barber, you're not a barber, or at least, most of us aren't barbers. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're actually reaching the end of this video. Just always remember those tips I taught you for the guidelines. And if you do, you'll be fine. You'll be able to do the tapers and even do fades quite easily. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you pressed the like button by this point, because I took hours out of my day to film and edit this video for you. In fact, when you hear me talking, I'm still editing, and it's about 12 hours after I started editing and like 3 days after I started recording. So just keep that in mind. Press the like button. You guys are actually watching me film another video right now, a hairline tutorial. YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Waveman Mike, and we're back for another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a haircut on myself. I see that you guys really like these haircut videos, especially during this time when you guys are stuck in the house and you're probably gonna be doing haircuts on yourself. So I decided, why not just upload more haircut videos if that's what you guys want to see. This video actually is an old video, but I'm re-editing it so that it comes out better than it was before. Hopefully you guys like it. Because if I didn't upload it again, you probably would have never saw it, because chances are you're probably not scrolling back in my channel, you know what I mean? But yeah, in this video I did a 1 with the grain, which is pretty short, but I have a reason why I'm cutting it that short. Typically you don't cut waves anywhere near that close or that short, because it just doesn't come out right with waves. But I had a reason for doing it. Go ahead and do me a favor right quick and just press the like button, and so even subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Yeah, that definitely gets me motivated to post more videos, because if you don't do it, it feels like, it kind of feels like you're just uploading for no reason. Nobody's liking your stuff, nobody's subscribing. It's like, what am I even doing it for if nobody appreciates what I'm doing? So I mean, I guess that's just my 2 cents on that. And also, go drop a comment. Go comment anything, It doesn't have to literally be the word anything, but you know what I mean. Like, just comment whatever's on your mind. Not that sentence, whatever's on your mind. You know what I mean. Comment, just comment. So I can have some feedback. You can comment anything, like what you want to see next on my channel, what you thought of this video, how you thought the haircut turned out, if you're going to try cutting your own hair, anything like that. I am cutting out the actual audio, so you're not going to hear the clippers and everything in this video, just because when I recorded this video, I was actually in the middle of a conversation, and also there was music playing. So yeah, that's no good, especially with YouTube and the copyright. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking and just let you guys sit back and enjoy this video with background music. a nice beat, you know that? And I know you guys want to be entertained. So, I'm gonna rap for you guys. What? Yo, what's up, y'all? It's time for a video, so start the roll call. I'm gonna entertain like I always do. I'm gonna help the people, and I'm starting with you. So sit back, kick your feet up, and relax. 50K on the way, halfway to the plaque. If they ask you who I am, I'm Waveman Mike. So subscribe, drop a comment, and don't forget to like. That beat was kind of fire, and the freestyle was nice too. But I think we need to do it again. What do you think? Yeah, Waveman, and we're back again. We're in the Cadillac, sipping juice and gin. The king of all the waves is what lies within. So sit back and listen while my story begins. Yo, what's up, y'all? It's time for a video, so start the roll call. I'm gonna entertain like I always do. I'm gonna help the people, and I'm starting with you. Yeah. So sit back, kick your feet up, and relax. 50K on the way, halfway to the plaque. If they ask you who I am, I'm Waveman Mike. Subscribe, drop a comment. Don't forget to like. Alright, so we are coming to the end of this haircut. If you look right there, you can see that the hairline came out slanted. I'm not even mad about that because my hairline is naturally slanted and I don't want to push it back. The haircut came out decent. This was about a year ago, actually. Maybe a little bit longer than a year ago. But I think it came out, it was decent at least. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. And hey, go ahead and press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Although it seems like such a small task, it makes such a big impact. So make sure you do that. I'm Waveman Mike. Subscribe, comment, and like. Enjoy your day.
Alright, YouTube. In this video, I'm about to scalp. It's not a joke. It's not a game. I'm serious. So,
I haven't even been brushing like that for real because I knew that I was about to scalp anyway. And I was like, I was trying to wait for another YouTuber to scalp so we can like do a challenge, but they're scalping way too far away and I'm not waiting that long, so. My hair is like very messy. It's been raining a lot lately too, so you know the water comes down from the sky because they know it's about the water. You know the waves, the water, they interact. You know, like you know how it is. Mother Nature is mad that like wave man is like temporarily becoming non-wave man, scout man, like. But yeah. I got my clippers. Let's see, what guard we want to use. Let's try this. This is a 1 with the grain first. Just to, you know, hold up. Let me get a mirror. I'm tripping. Trying to let y'all know this is not a game. It's not a joke. I'm serious. It's all about to go. All about to go. Yeah, I'll see this in the camera. I'm not trying to be off camera. That should be good. Maybe if I, hold up. I'm gonna get this right. I never get the haircut. Not haircut. Well, I never get the camera angles right when I do a haircut. This time I'm at least try a little bit better. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully. That's good enough, I guess. Can y'all see this? Alright, let me stand right here. I'm not like in the mirror for real, but this gonna have to be good enough. That's not low at all, and that's a 1. A 1 for a thin hair waver is pretty low, I'm not gonna lie. So let's try this, since y'all think I'm playing. Got the dippers under there. Okay. What have I done? Okay. I'm gonna do that, the whole head like that first, and then I'm gonna scalp. Just so y'all can see, you know, since I rarely do this. Dang, it's the ocean on my head. I haven't even been brushing like that. Hold up. I look silly, but hold up. Oh, I hear my mouth and my ears and everything. God dang. This is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. I could have been dipping more if I were brushing more. But you know how the game goes. bunches of hair rolling down my hair and stuff. I mean, rolling down my back. In my shirt. Let's see. Is that low enough to count as a scalp? Because I can still drown people at this length, so I don't know. I don't think that's the scalp. I don't think that counts. I can still drown a lot of people that I know in person at this length. Can I? Hold up. Well, let's see. Let us see. I'll put these on. I might need to go lower than that because I don't know, the old pattern is still I'm just dipping too hard. It's just, I'm just too, I'm wave man, you know. It's not my fault. I didn't ask to dip like this, you know. Oh, I'm drowning. Oh, I looked in the mirror. I'm drowning. It's just, wow. It's just, so I'm gonna go a little bit lower. This is a 1 against the grain, by the way. I'm probably still gonna have to go lower than that, because I'm just, god dang. These joints are really in there. These joints are not going anywhere. What? Like, please, you're not invited. Go away. Goodness gracious. Probably gonna go, after this, probably gonna watch some swirl breakdown videos, because last time I tried to do a swirl, I had the angles all wrong, so this time I'm gonna get it right. Watch. Your boy's gonna get it right this time. It's, I don't know. When I started out on YouTube, it was so many people with a swirl on YouTube. Now it's like everybody switched to beehive. So, you know, I'm switching my beehive to a swirl. Gotta be different. I mean, that's not why I'm switching, no, not because of them switching to my style. Not my style, because I didn't make it, but switching because I like swirls better. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing. This is a scalp, so there ain't nothing I really need to really pay attention to. I don't have to get the angles right. I thought the guard just fell off. I would have been so mad. Now that would have been a scalp. That's a one L of a scalp. You get it? L. No, okay, not funny. After this, I'm gonna do a wash and style with this much hair. Cause I'm gonna get this leftover hair out on my head. I don't wanna have these little strangler hairs roaming around. Not roaming around, cause they don't walk or nothing. But you know what I mean. Let's try that angle. Let's see. What was that? I don't know. I got no common sense. But yeah. Dang. Like, are they gonna go away? I feel like spend another 30 minutes going over again with another guard. Hold up, there's a piece of hair right there that I forgot to cut. So let me go ahead and do that. I like the way my hair looks when it's against the grain, like this one. All right, so I'm gonna do the shape up and the taper off camera. Then I'm gonna do a washer style off camera. All that, well, not the shape up and the taper, but the washer style is gonna be in another video. So make sure you stay tuned to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, so you can stay up to date and you can keep up with my new wave journey. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it. Share the video. Let's get this. Share with Ellen. I don't care who you share with. Just share it with somebody. Enjoy your day.
What's up, Wave family? It's me, 3WP Rashad.
This is Supplement.
Wavy Man.
Make sure everybody go check out Wave Man Mike.
Wavy Man Mike.
Wave Man Mike.
Right now, man. Everybody go check out Wave Man Mike.
To my fellow coarse hair waver.
Right now. Right now.
For providing valuable tips to the wave community all over the world.
And make sure you guys check out Wave Man Mike on YouTube. Let's get it.
Make sure I show his channel some support and love. Deuces.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is up? It's your host with the most entertaining people like you, from coast to coast, Wave Man Mike, and we're back for another video. Stay tuned. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to taper fade your own hair. Just a little disclaimer, this can be pretty tricky to get right. So don't expect to get some perfect result on the first try. Maybe not even the first 10 times, odds are your first few times you're gonna mess up, but that's okay. You're teaching yourself an important skill that you may mess up now, but later it's really gonna pay off. So just keep that in mind. So first up, let's list the materials that you'll need. The first material you'll need is a hair clipper. These are used to actually cut your hair down, and it's very important in tapering your hair. When looking for a clipper, make sure you find one with a lever like this that can open and close. Later in this video, I'll go over the difference between open and closed. Also, make sure you find a clipper that comes with a set of guards like this. Most clippers come with guards 1 through 8. I recommend finding clippers that come with guards below the 1 guard as well, but we'll go over the guards later in this video as well. The next material you're gonna need is a trimmer. You could also call this an outliner. Really, it's whatever you call it. When it comes to trimmers, I recommend finding one that's pretty high powered. There are a lot of trimmers out there that aren't really that good, and you don't really need to buy one that's super expensive, but just make sure you at least check the reviews before you just buy the cheapest trimmer out there. While we're on the topic of finding good quality clippers and trimmers, there is something that I should plug right now. I found these really nice quality clippers that actually are pretty affordable. If you go to thecutbuddy.com, you can get both of these in a bundle together for only $65. Yes, the whole bundle is $65, which is an extremely good deal. Most clippers are over $65 by themselves, and the trimmers are another $65 by themselves. So to get both of these together for $65 is pretty good. And both the clippers and the trimmers come with their own guards. They're wireless, and they come with a charger, and there's other stuff that comes in the kit as well. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you check this out at www.thecutbuddy.com, and make sure you use my code WavemanMike so you get a discount whenever you purchase this kit. The link will be down in the description. So now, let me do an explanation of what it means for your clipper to have the lever closed versus open. When the clipper is in this back position like this, it's open. When it's in this forward position like this, it's closed. You can choose to either all the way close it or just, partially close it. The clipper that I have has several notches in the middle so that it clicks. This can be very helpful. But some clippers, they just smoothly glide, and that's still okay. You can just predict wherever you think the middle will be, and so on and so forth. So when the lever is all the way open, the clipper is gonna cut your hair at a higher length than versus it being closed. Let me give you a close-up of what happens when you close and open the lever. Now you can see the lever is closed. Do you see how close these blades are to this? Now watch as I open it. Do you see the distance getting further from these blades? To simplify it, basically your hair can only go as far as this allows. So if this is further from these blades that are actually cutting your hair, then your hair can only be cut but so low. When you close it, they get closer, cutting your hair lower than if the lever was open. If that explanation really didn't make sense to you, then you can watch my older video on how to taper fade your hair. A lot of people are saying that's the best tutorial on YouTube, and I did do a slightly better job at explaining in that video. So if you want to check it out, then you can. Now let me explain clipper guards. Depending on what guard you put on your clipper will depend on the length that your hair can be cut to. The lower the number that you see on the guard, the lower the length your hair will be. As you can see, this one has a number 5 on, meaning this is the 5 guard. The length for each guard is usually universal per clipper, so you don't have to worry about the 5 guard on this clipper being different from that clipper. It's usually universal. When you're taper fading your hair, a 5 guard is not a typical guard that you would need to use. So let me go to the guards that you usually will see in a taper fade. This is the 1 guard. It's a pretty low guard, as you can see. It's 1. The 1 guard is for 3 millimeters, which is also equal to 1/8 inch. So whenever you put this guard onto the clipper, you're adding 1/8 of an inch onto what the cut would be. You can also cut your hair with no guard on the clipper. This would obviously come out a lot lower than having a guard on it, but that will be explained later when I actually start cutting my hair. So now that I'm done with the basic instructions, let me demonstrate what I just explained to you. First things first, get some type of brush so you can lay your hair down. It's important to brush your hair down because you want your hair to be in the place that it would need to be
when you cut it. Now it's time to set the bald guideline. You can either use your trimmer or you can use your clipper with the lever all the way closed with no guard. And of course, whatever you do to one side, make sure you do that to the other side. So now let's go ahead and cut that first guideline. This is going to be the lowest line of them all, so make sure you do not go too high. If you want a reference point, you can just cut yours in the same location that I cut mine. This line does not need to be super straight because you're going to end up blending it out anyway. Make sure to brush your hair back down after each guideline. And just like I said before, whatever you do to one side, make sure you do it to the other. Now we are done with the trimmer and it is time to move on to the clipper. Remember, you could have done this all with the clipper as well, with the lever all the way closed and no guard on it. And now it's time for the next guideline. Have your lever all the way open. So this is closed, this is open. Okay, so these are the notches that I have on mine. Yours might not have notches, but that's okay. And take your clipper, have no guard on it, and the lever all the way open. And then you're just gonna go just above the line you just set in the previous step, just like this. There really aren't any specific measurements I could give you because everyone's head is a different size and shape. But just for reference, I'm going about a ½ inch above the first guideline that I set when I'm making this next guideline. You can try to follow along exactly how I'm doing it on my head and see if that works for you. But if it doesn't work, you can always try it a different way. After this guideline, make sure you brush your hair back down. And make sure you repeat those same steps on the other side. If you need a reminder, you're using the clipper with no guard and the lever all the way open. Here's a pro tip that I rarely hear in self-cut tutorials. Remember that your hair can grow in different directions, so make sure you point those clippers in other directions just in case you aren't getting your hair completely even. If you find that your hair isn't getting completely even, that might be the reason. So maybe you might need to point them a little bit to the left, maybe a little bit to the right. Pointing them straight up might not be completely even every single time. Now go ahead and brush your hair down. Now it's time to blend out that first guideline. So you're going to use your lever and you're going to move it in between being all the way closed and all the way open. For this video, I'm probably just going to make it in the middle, but you could also do like 3/4 open or 1/4 open. Just really play around with the lever until that line is all the way gone. If this still is not making sense to you, do not worry. Later in this video, I will try to include an illustration that should help you figure out how to blend out lines. now what I'm going to do is take that lever and put it in the middle. This will help blend out the transition between having the lever all the way closed and all the way open. And now I'm going to make my next guideline with the 0.5 guard. For some of you out there, this guard might be called the 0 guard instead of the 0.5 guard. Now we're going to have the lever all the way open and we're going to start the next guideline. And remember, anything you do to one side, you're going to do that to the other side. Make sure to brush those hairs down. And now with the same guard on, go ahead and close the lever and cut at the bottom of where that guideline is. Remember, if the whole concept of blending does not seem very clear to you, make sure you stick around until the end of the video because I will be adding an extra explanation. Now it's time to use that one guard. Have the lever all the way open. As you can probably already predict, you're going to need to brush your hair down after you finish that. Now it's time to grab the 2 guard and start blending out the top area. So a better way to do this is not to just start digging in. Instead, flick. You see the direction that I'm moving the clipper in right now? I'm doing like a flicking motion. I'm not digging straight in. take your brush, brush your hair down, and inspect your work. Now I'm gonna take my one guard and start matching my work on the other side of my head. So just go ahead and follow the exact same steps you did on the other side. Now it's time to brush that hair down so you can inspect your work. And once you've done that, grab your two guard and do the same thing you did on the other side. Remember, we are not digging in. Instead, we are flicking out. Always remember to brush your hair down and inspect your work. This is very important because you want to do it now instead of waiting until later and then you find something wrong and you don't remember what guard you had or how far the lever was closed or open. So it's always best to do it right then in the middle of cutting your hair. Okay, so now for the back taper, and it's actually the exact same steps. You're going to use the same guards. You're going to have the lever open and close at the same time. So first up, get your trimmer and set a guideline at the very bottom. This line is a little bit different for everybody, just depending on the shape of your head and how long your neck is. But for reference, I usually like to line it up at the bottom of my ears. And you're gonna grab your clippers just like you did on the side tapers, and you're gonna have the lever all the way open, and you're gonna use that to make your next guideline in the back. So I'm gonna go up about a half an inch. As you can see, my line might not be perfectly straight. I'm just gonna be honest. My camera is in the way of the mirror, so I really can't see what I'm doing. But I do have, a little sense of what I'm doing, and I think I should be able to do it even though I can't see. And now it's time to blend that guideline out. So we're gonna go ahead and close the lever on our clipper, and you see that first guideline we did with our trimmer at the very bottom. That is where we're going to start blending with our lever close. So you can see how I'm just barely touching that line, and that should help blend it out. Now I'm going to open the lever halfway. As you can see, I just did that right there. And then I'm going to go up halfway in between the first guideline and the second guideline. As you can see, it should be blending out a little bit more. This first area right here is usually the easiest to blend. As you can see, it's already starting to look blended out, and that's because there's not much hair right there to work with anyway. Now I'm going to take my 0.5 guard, yours might be called the 0 guard, and I'm going to start the next guideline. The lever is all the way open, as you can see, and this one is about another 1/2 inch right above that guideline you did with the no guard. Just a little reminder, if the hair isn't seeming to cut when you cut upward, just try going sideways. Maybe your hair grows in a different way. This is why it's so important to brush your hair down, because this whole line right here wasn't even visible before I brushed my hair down. So now I'm gonna close the lever and start blending out that bottom guideline right there. And can you predict what you need to do after you finish this? That's right, brush your hair down. Make sure you check your work always, the same way you would do it in like a math class or something. Now open that lever up halfway and you're gonna blend in the middle of that guideline. So at first you were blending at the bottom, now you're blending in the middle. Know what to do, brush it down, grab that one guard and do essentially the same steps. This time I'm going to try not telling you what to do. That way I can see if you can figure it out by yourself. Of course, I can't see you, so I won't know if you do it correctly, but you can rewind in the video and see if you did it correctly. And if you did, or if you didn't, go ahead and leave a comment down below to see if you were able to do it by yourself without instructions for this time. All right, so now grab your 2 guard, and just like the last time, I'm not going to explain this to you. A very essential part of learning things is being able to do it on your own. So I just want you to try to do this on your own. And if you can't, remember, you can always scroll back in the video and watch the way I did it with the sides, because these are the same steps that you did on the side of your hair. So this is what the final product of the tapers should look like. Maybe yours looks a little bit worse. Maybe it looks a little bit better. Hopefully it looks better. And if it does, then great, you're a natural. And if it doesn't, then that's fine. That's completely understandable. This is something that's not easy to do the first few times. Now I'm just trying to give you as many angles as I can so you can just see what my product looks like, and I guess you can compare yours. Okay, so now I'm going to do my best to draw an illustration that should help you get a clearer vision as to what the steps actually are. Okay, so imagine this first line as the first guideline. This is with no guard on and the lever is completely closed. I'm just going to write there that is closed right beside it. Okay, then about a ½ inch up, you're going to have also no guard, but you're going to have the lever all the way open. So I'm just going to write 100% open. Then you're going to go back down above where you had it 100% closed, and you're going to open that lever just 25%. So not halfway, not 75, but 25% open. Okay, so this is where you're starting to blend in between the closed and the 100% open. So then you're going to have it 50% open, which is just above that 25% open, and 75% open. Okay, does that make sense? I'm hoping, since I'm drawing this on, something that's easier to see than skin, that it's a lot easier to understand. So now you're just going to replicate those same steps, but this time you have a different guard on your clipper. So you still have the closed, the 25% open, the 50% open, the 75% open, and the 100% open. But the only difference is, at first you had no guard on. Now you have the 0.5 guard on, or the 0 guard on, if your clipper has that. Remember, like I said, each clipper has things named differently. So now I'm just going to make it easier to understand. I'm just going to go ahead and mark what guard is on, which set of directions. So right here, it has no guard on at all. So everything that you do in that first section, no guard. Then just above it, it's the 0.5 guard. So I hope this is easy to understand. I'm pretty sure it is, but I know some people take a few steps to understand some things, so I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for other people. So right above that 0.5 guard is going to be the 1 guard, and then so on and so forth with whatever guard you do next. It could be the 1.5 guard, the 2 guard, the 2.5 guard, the 3 guard, and you just keep going up until it blends into the rest of your hair.
What's up, YouTube? It's Waveman Mike, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to do a lineup. I don't want to waste any time, so let's get right into it. You're going to want to make sure you're always starting in the center and moving out to the sides from there. Also remember that your head is not a flat surface, it's round. So depending on if you're looking up, down, or straight, the angles will be a little bit different. If you look up like this, the middle will be higher than the sides. You see this? How it curves upward in the middle. If you look down like this, the sides will be higher than the middle. And if you look straight, then the line should be relatively flat.
So let's get this lineup started. We're gonna start in the center, just like I said at the beginning of the video. And we're just gonna get our first area. Just know where we want our line to be at. After you get that line where you want it to be, go ahead and brush the hair down just so you can see where it would lay over. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start the left side. So I'm gonna start in the center and move over to the left. You might wanna get a handheld mirror just so you can see more angles. So I got a mirror in front of me and then I got a mirror in my hand. So as you can see, I'm starting in the middle right now and I'm just moving over to the left. Me, I'm kind of conservative with my hairline, so I barely take anything off. But if yours isn't as, I guess, naturally straight as mine, then you can go a little bit further up. I wouldn't recommend going more than like 2 millimeters, maybe 3 above wherever it is at the time you start. And my hairline is naturally uneven anyway, and I don't really try to make it as even as possible. I like to follow the natural line so that way it doesn't give a pushed back appearance if I do try to just create a whole new line. You know what I mean? As you can see, I'm doing the other side right now. I started in the center and I'm moving my way over to that right side. And every so often, just like I said before, I'm just gonna brush the hair back down just to see where it lays at. And you can look up, you can look down just to make sure that those angles look right, depending on where your head is positioned. And you see what I just did? Actually, I wouldn't recommend doing something like this. Don't ever push the clippers up. Always start at the top and move downward. You know, I recorded this video like 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't know why I never uploaded it. Maybe I did, but I can't find it on my channel to save my life, so I'm gonna just say I didn't upload it. But yeah, anyway, go ahead and brush the hair back down just so you can see where the hair is laying at. As you can see, mine is starting to look pretty straight right there. You see that? And now we're coming to the point where I'm going to check the corners and see if they line up, if they're the same height. The one on the left side of the screen is a little bit higher, but my hairline naturally is a little bit higher on the left side. But I'm just going to do a little bit of adjustment on the right side just to bring that up just a tad bit, not a whole bunch, just at the corner, because that's really where it would show the most. Hold on, let me see what I'm doing right here. Like I said, it's been like 3 years since I recorded this video, so I don't really... Oh, I see what I'm doing. So I just put a marker in there, in the hair, and then I'm just following that to the center. Does that make sense? I'm guessing this is before I had the cut buddy, because the cut buddy would have been really good in this situation. Those little pencils that they have, where you can draw out the line before you even do it, would have been so helpful right here in this moment. And then the actual cut buddy tool too, I could just lay that flat down on the lineup and really just, you know, make sure it's as straight as possible. If you're not familiar with the cut buddy, I'll go ahead and leave a short clip on the screen right now just so you can see what that would look like.
How to give yourself a lineup using the cut buddy. First, place the cut buddy where you want your lineup to be. Then use this speed tracer pencil to draw your outlines. You can see what your lineup will look like before you even start cutting. Now start tracing your outlines with your trimmers. Follow Wave Man Mike on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now enjoy your final result.
See how that could have been useful in this situation? So I'm pretty sure I must not have had the cut buddy back then, because I don't see why I wouldn't have used it in this situation. Nope, it looks like I just spoke too soon, because look at this. I got the cut buddy right here. I'm being serious, I didn't even know I was using it in this video. This was such a long time ago, so I didn't remember. But actually in this video, I'm just using it straight on the cut buddy. I didn't even draw with the, the speed tracer pencil. And this is actually the method I use most often. I usually only use the speed tracer pencil if I'm going out somewhere, just because I do like that white outline on there when I finish up. If I'm doing it like this with just the cut buddy by itself, is usually if I'm just doing the haircut at night or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Now just go ahead and make sure that both sides are equal to each other. Make sure they line up, make sure they both are in the same spot. Make sure one's not further back than the other side. I think this right side is a little bit lower than the left side. It could still come up a little bit more just because it has like this little slant in it. It's like right there, the last inch or so, it just curves downward. Oh, I actually just did it with my hand. You see that? How it just curves downward that last little bit. Oh, also one more tip. So I like to line mine up with something on my head that I'm used to. So for me, it's the edge of my eyes. That's where I usually get the edge of my line up with. But some people, they might do it with like the edge of their iris in their eyes. I think that's a little bit harder only because your iris moves. The edge of your eyes don't. Or you can line it up with the edge of your eyebrows as well. Some people do that too. And one more thing, you can't forget to line up the back of your head too. So let's go ahead and brush down this section and let's just do the back line up behind our ears. This is honestly probably the easiest part of any haircut. Sometimes I do it even if I don't give myself a haircut. You can just follow the line. There's almost always a line there that you can follow. But if there isn't, like, you can just create a line by yourself. You have a pretty good idea of what this area should look like, and it's a pretty short area, so it's pretty hard to mess it up. Even if you do mess up, just try to create a straight line and almost nobody will know that you messed up just because it doesn't go all the way across your head. You know what I mean? Just look at how fast that section is finished. Now we can move on to the other side. It's literally that quick, that easy. It's so hard to mess this up. And like I said, even if you do mess up, unless you just push it back like a whole like inch or half inch, nobody's even gonna know that you messed up. On the contrary, there is another section right back there that is pretty easy to mess up, and people will notice if you mess it up. That's when you go around your ears. So I'm not even gonna do this section on camera. Really, I was just gonna edit this part out, but I'm just showing you, like, I need 3 mirrors in order to do this section behind my ears, because there's no way I can really hold a mirror and hold the clippers and hold down my ear all at the same time. I would literally need 3 hands. It's not that difficult to do this section, but it just does require a little bit more of your attention. And as you can see, I am making, you know, double sure and triple sure that I check before I start really getting into the cutting behind the ear, because everything you do in the mirror is gonna feel like you're doing it backwards. When you try to move left, it's gonna feel like you're moving right. When you try to move left, I mean, you know what I mean. Everything feels backwards. And I didn't use enhancements in this video just because most people don't even have enhancements. So this is just an example of a natural hairline that you can do by yourself at home without any additional enhancements. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make it as quick and to the point as possible. I hope it helped you out. Please tell me in the comment section what you want to see next. I'm Wave Man Mike. Subscribe, comment, and like. Enjoy your day.